Hello again. This is a video demo for the Garmin Foretrex 301, not to be confused with the Forerunner. I'll do a quick review of this device. I'll do a quick comparison with the other ones that I've bought leading up to this one. The device itself is a few years old, so I'm not sure how beneficial this will be, but I'll try and give you an idea how this thing runs in the real world. So first off, I'll give you a quick play-by-play of the devices I bought getting up to the Foretrex 301, which I'll say right off the bat is really an awesome device. The first one I purchased to get me back to my hotel, for those of you who saw my review on it, was the GMA Junior. GMA Junior only has one waypoint that you can return to. I found out very quickly you needed a lot more than that. Both these devices, the Foretrex and the GMA Junior, both use GPS compass, not an internal compass, but they work far better, trust me. I still use this GMA all the time. Makes a great geocaching device. I did try out the Bushnell Backtrack. This has a real compass in it. I wouldn't recommend this one to anybody. It had 5 waypoints you could set, but it was just so poorly done. Switched over to the GH561 Boomerang. Now that had 100 waypoints and a rechargeable battery. This was a pretty good device if I could have, turned off the flaky compass and went with GPS-based compass. I think I'd have stopped with this one. The price was right. Nice device. The Foretrex 301, I should tell you, you can get the Foretrex 401, which has a real compass in there. The nice thing about the 401 is you could actually shut the compass off if you weren't happy. And you could go with the GPS-based compass. The 301 at $149, is it worth $60 or $70 more than the Boomerang? That's a close call, but I decided to make the jump, and I'm really happy. So here we go. So the sales pitch for the Foretrex 301. To be completely honest, I didn't know Foretrex existed. I thought these were runner's GPSs. I've seen them before. I thought they were just fancy pedometers. But some sharp guy at Garmin decided to put this little sticker on there for the demo models, which got me interested enough to check it out. Didn't find much information, so that's why I'm doing this video. So let's see. On the box itself, they proclaim simple, dependable, lightweight, hands-free, rugged, and waterproof, highly sensitive GPS, and USB transfer of routes, tracks, and waypoints from any computer. Can I do that? Well, let's give it a spin around the block. First thing we'll talk about is the size of the device. It's pretty small. And if you don't think you need something that small, this isn't the device for you, especially with the new Foretrex line coming out from Garmin. Less expensive than this, a lot more features, a lot more memory, built-in base maps. But if you want something that you can clamp to your handlebars, stick on your wrist when you're climbing around, or just drop in your pocket when you're out traveling, you're going to lose a lot of features, but still a competent device. Even though the device is really small, it uses regular AAA batteries. For me, this is the only way to go. I am not a fan of rechargeable batteries in a device like this. I want to be able to swap out whenever I want. But I'm still trying to get used to the shorter battery life on this device, especially when I threw in the rechargeable batteries. Seem to chew through them pretty quick. There are some settings in there where you can slow down its roll. You can set the battery, the backlight to turn off quicker. Things like that to help out a little bit, but it still seemed awfully quick. The backlight also would come on anytime you touched a button. So if you accidentally bumped the backlight button during the day, first of all, you wouldn't see that it was on, and every time you touch a button, it would refire the backlight, which just chews through the battery very quickly. Wish you had a setting to shut that off, so only when you forced the backlight on, it would stay on and then shut off and not come on every time you pushed a button. Not sure where I read it, but I believe they claim 18 hours on a set of alkalines. There's no way I'm getting half of that with rechargeable batteries. We'll talk more about battery life, especially when you're running a track log. It needs to stay on. Talk more about that in a bit. To finish off the hardware stuff in the box, it comes with obviously the strap. There's also an extension strap if you want to put on the outside of your coat. It has a USB cable, which we'll talk more about in a bit. The display is black and white. No grayscale on this, but it's unneeded. It doesn't really display any maps or anything. Screen is beautiful, looks good in the day or night. Plus, because it doesn't have a built-in compass, you can point the screen, where it looks the best, not where it's flat. So, best of both worlds here. One last thought on the hardware. It comes with a little speaker that's supposed to, beep when it wants to alert you, or beep beep when you push the buttons. You can never hear this anyway, so I just shut it off, save the battery. So, marking a current location, also known as a waypoint, is as easy as turning the device on, waiting for the little satellite symbol to the left there to stop flashing. That means you have a satellite lock. You can use the shortcut by pressing and holding the enter button. And there it is, 001. Just that easy. Turning the device on, setting a waypoint like this, and turning it back off is fast, simple, especially when you're trying to save battery. But the problem is Garmin chose not to show the quality of the GPS signal. All you know is it's good enough, it's locked. Unfortunately, this doesn't make for accurate waypoint setting. I really wish Garmin would have given us the quality of that lock over on the left-hand side, just like they do the battery. It would have helped a lot. But if you really want accuracy, I found the more time you wait, the better the accuracy. After setting a waypoint, you can go in here and change any of the information listed to anything you want. You could change that 002 to Space Needle, put in the coordinates of the Space Needle, and save it as that. Then you can go to it anytime you'd like. These types of devices that will take you back to a waypoint, usually when you say take me back to a specific waypoint, it will point you, as the crow flies, a straight line back. You see here, I'm going to head to waypoint 2, it'll say go, and it gives you that little pointer, head to that direction, 0.13 miles. Sometimes, as the crow fly doesn't work so well, in fact, if you were here on the left circle, and you're getting back to your waypoint on the right circle, obviously, that wouldn't work so well. The Garmin allows you to string several waypoints together, and they call this routing, which should take you around correctly. Now, you can create new routes. You can save routes. One thing about creating a route is it's painful to do, takes a long time, and the worst part about it, it just doesn't quite work the way you'd hoped it would. Most of the times I want to pre-plan a route, usually starts at a spot, makes a big loop around, hitting specific spots, coming back to that same spot. Even though I've tried this many times in many different ways, almost every time the software tries to fix the route for me. Finds a shortcut, cuts off half my route, or I don't even get started. Just you start it off and it says you've already arrived even though you've missed the 8 miles that you had planned. This just doesn't work very well. On the flip side of this, you always have the map and you can see all of the points that you want to follow. And you can just simply use the map and follow one to the next without using any of the routing, without spending the time to set it up. It's simply easier, and your brain isn't going to screw you up like the software will. Another feature of the device, anytime you're out and about and the device is running and on, it will leave a trail behind you every twist and turn, kind of like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs everywhere you go. This continuous track, as they call it, can just be simply ignored. Or if you want to, you can go back and save a specific track or go back to a specific point in that track or a specific time in that track and say, take me back step by step, every twist and turn, all the way back. This works really good. One neat thing is, when you're following a track back in the compass view, you'll notice the arrow trying to show you what's ahead by bending and twisting. Kind of neat. This works really good when you had a great GPS lock and you were dropping lots of breadcrumbs. On the other hand, if you're on thick cover or if you were carrying the GPS in your pocket and the reception wasn't good, or if you're trying to save memory by putting down less breadcrumbs, sometimes switching to the map mode is easier. You can still see you're on track. Because the tracking is constantly working, it's using memory. Give you an idea, there's 5 levels of auto. I'm in the middle of the pack there, and I think I used up about 10% of the memory in 4 hours. Keep in mind you can raise this or lower it, or you can go specific. You can say every 5 minutes drop a breadcrumb, or every 30 feet. It's completely up to you, and you can burn it up or save as much as you want. It's up to you. Not only does the device chew up memory, it also chews up the battery, needing to stay on all the time. One interesting thing I found was, actually by accident, was I left at noon, and I stopped at 2 o'clock, and had lunch, and I shut the device off, wandered around, turned it back on, and finished my hike. When I set it to track me back to that noon spot, the device intelligently stitched together the gap. So I found a little trick to save memory and battery life, so I've been trying to stretch it as far as I can. Taking this thing out on a hike, I'll leave the device on through the very tight section, the difficult section. When I get on that straight single track, I'll turn the device off. When I get to the next area where it's confusing, I'll again turn it back on. When I'm ready to go back, it stitches them all together. This is still a new device for me, so I'm still trying to work out the best way to exploit this non-feature. But one thing I would like to see is a difference between what was stitched and what's actual track. You can't tell the difference on the screen. So one is basically just a guide. One is the hard and true trail. Even though Garmin never asked me, and they should have. But I'm pretty happy that I have this little option, and I'll keep playing with it to see how far I can push it. A couple other items of interest. The 301 has a timer that you can turn on or off in options. So if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. Also, the data fields on many of these things can be changed to anything you want. One other item it has is, I guess I call it the dashboard view. This is just data only, and you can go in and change those fields to anything you want, any way you want to see it. It's pretty slick. Gave these data views a test on a recent road trip. The device worked flawlessly, exactly as you would expect it would. No whining or complaining because there's magnetic interference or blah, blah, blah. It just worked beautifully. Last but not least, they say with the 301, you can transfer routes, tracks, and waypoints from any computer. Well, I call shenanigans. You can get in there, but does this look like something that makes sense to you? Now, I'm pretty computer savvy, and I felt comfortable going into these files and making changes. Even when I saved those changes, when it went back to the device, it would just nullify what I did. I did find on a couple user forums ways to get around this, but this isn't for the average person. If you're comfortable with this kind of thing, or you're good at dragging GPX files around, maybe. Now, another option, if you have internet on your computer, keep in mind this doesn't fit their sales pitch as any computer. It would be an internet-connected computer, is the Garmin Connect software that you can just go online and access. This online software allows you to upload your data from your hikes. You can also search hikes that other people have taken and download them to your device. This sounded great right up until I tried to use it. When I downloaded it to the device, it looked like it worked, but then the device said truncating. Gave me a 1 mile chunk of it, basically worthless. If they had given me reduced data points, like give me every 10th one, that would have at least been functional. This way just didn't work at all. While we're on the subject of internet connection, you can update your Garmin through their web updater online. Be sure you do this. The device was riddled with bugs out of the box, and they've all been squashed. So with that, I've run out of time. Some final thoughts here, even with all the negatives that I've said. The device, its small size, its beautiful screen, regular batteries, great software, and the lack of a digital compass gives you great stability and a wonderful device. My favorite amongst all of them. If you have any questions, post them in the comments section. I'll do my best to answer. Hopefully this gives you some information that you haven't had before. Thanks. Have a good day. Goodbye.